you won't get the things you want unless you become the person that can have them. Hi there, I'm Roxanne Miller and I want to welcome you on my channel. If you're new here, I'm a model, a content creator, and the author of Unsexy Healing Without Hashtags. If you are returning, thank you very much and let's enjoy. This is Motivation Monday. Let's speak a little bit about energy. What if this vital energy is the most powerful tool you have in your kit? From my understanding, everything around us is energy. We are energy. This bed is energy. My microphone is energy. This camera is energy. My hair is energy. Everything is energy, and whatever we do, whatever we buy or sell, whatever we create, it's an exchange of energy. When we interact with other people, it's an exchange of energy. We will give our energy and take their energy. That's why sometimes we are drained, because some of them don't give nothing, those vampires. Now that my rant is my tiny pathetic little rant is over, let's go a little bit further because it's really important. I remember one heart surgeon talk about the fact that we metabolize, we actually consume and digest the energy of everything that is around us. May it be the air we breathe in, the water we drink, the food we eat, what we are watching, what we are hearing, but also the relationships around us. And there is one point that hurt me at that moment in time, because I didn't know how to fix it. And he said, out of all of relationships around you, the one that is going to harm you the most, if it's toxic, it's the relationship with your mother, so it's time to fix it. In that moment in time, I didn't know how to fix my relationship with my mother. The answer came a lot later than I expected, and it came with a storm of events that freaked me out. And that was the moment when I realized that if it's not for me to heal my relationship with my mother by communicating with her and by telling her whatever I felt, it was for me to fix that relationship with my mother through my own feelings, through my own filters, through my own memories, and to heal that on my end so it doesn't have to bother me further. Now, do you remember those tests in school? Because I definitely do. I was brain fog, confused, my heart was pounding really hard, I was stressed, my hands were shaky and wet, and I felt like I couldn't remember anything for the life of me. But then when the paper would come and I would look through the subjects, I would breathe in and breathe out and then calm myself and realize that it's not as bad as I thought it was. Not knowing having ADHD didn't help either, because I procrastinated always up until the last moment of the deadline. And sometimes I felt like it was a fun way of living. It was interesting, right? Always in a rush. Thankfully, I realized that that was the pattern, and I started breaking it step by step. Now, I gave you 2 examples of stressful situations that release cortisol in the body. I used to be a cortisol junkie because I was a storyteller, and without something happening to me, I didn't have what to talk about, so I was chasing this cortisol. Of course, I didn't do it on purpose in the sense of I'm going to seek drama, but I always welcomed drama. It's only last year when I realized that I've been doing that quite a lot and things were happening to me. But 3 years prior to that, I started my journey to healing with the food first, and then with the sleep, and then step by step healing the relationships and the patterns and the archetypes that I projected on other people as well. So it is a process. It's unsexy. It's habit after habit stacking on top of each other. It's not something that you do overnight. It's not a fad diet. It's not some get rich scheme. No, it's a process. You won't get the things you want unless you become the person that can have them. If 3 years ago you would have told me I would be in this moment right now, I would be laughing because I was smoking, I was drinking, and I was eating a lot of junk food. I remember that I gave away one dress. I will wear it eventually and tell you about it in the future. That it was really beautiful. It was peanut peach, olive green, army green kinda, khaki, I don't know, some sort of green. It was peanut peach, Attic-ish, cute dress that I gave away because I couldn't fit in it for the life of me. And I even remember saying to the friend that I gave it to that I will never ever fit in it again. It's really important to understand that if we really want something, we will go for it and achieve it. If not, we will find tons of excuses and things that happen to us, and we will not have any sort of responsibility or any sort of accountability. And this is energy. Once you become aware of your patterns, once you become aware of the things that you allow in your life, you will have this clarity, this awareness, and you will start naming the things, and then they will fade their power up until the point that you will not need to cope, you will not need to find excuses. You will just get off your ass and do the things that you have to do, that you need to do, that you want to do for the life that you want to live and you want to create. This energy in us is helping us to create the life inside of us and outside of us. I mentioned that first of all I started with my sleeping and my food, and I remember the moment when I had my first aha was after a heat wave in which I used to have boils back then at 242 because my inflammation was so huge that I would get boils on my skin. I was so self-aware, and I'm so happy I got rid of them. You have no idea. So I had this boil on one of my breasts, and it got inflamed so bad around it, like a palm. And I went to the doctor because I got scared, because if it would have been on the leg, for instance, I wouldn't have been that scared, but being on the breast, it was quite scary. And I went to the doctor, and and he was a private doctor, so it was a lot of money to pay for the consult. And she looked at me like, yeah, you're bothering me right now. And I'm like, but then she said, yeah, you'll have to change your cosmetics and use something for sensitive skin, for sebum prone skin and stuff like that. All right, she gave me antibiotics for 7 days, and that was it. And then I started to ask myself the questions, like, I realized she never asked me what I ate. And I knew, for instance, that chocolate is not good for people who have acne. I knew plenty of things, like I studied biology and anatomy, and I wanted to go to med school, so I had no excuse. But you become so blind, That's when I started to read about and to learn about nutrition, and that's when, after 31 years, I realized that I lived with gut pain, like literal pain, like 20 stones and 100 knives inside my gut, and somebody would punch me in the gut at every single step that I took. That's what I lived with for 31 years, not knowing that potatoes harm me that hard. And I never cross the dots and point the T's or whatever the name of it is, because I was eating potatoes 5 times a week. And then when I said, okay, I'm not going to eat them anymore, I'm going to learn how to cook without them, plenty of people around me were like, how do you survive? What do you eat? Because, once I started to pinpoint that it's the starch that is making me feel sick, I started to lose, so first was the potatoes, and then was the chickpea because I realized that even hummus was giving me the same kind of pain. And then there was the pasta that was making me itch and would inflame me, and I would have like water retention, and then the breads. And I still sometimes make homemade pizza or homemade pasta, but it's so rare, and I am aware of the consequences now. Like, I know there is a price to pay. So I started realizing that the energy I was ingesting through my mouth was doing a lot of harm and a lot of damage, real damage on my health. Like, my blood tests were not good. And then I started working with the people around me, like assessing the relationships. And some of the people cleared themselves by default, and some other people came into my life, and it's a new kind of relationships, because I'm not repeating the same old toxic patterns that I would repeat before. Now, one of the things that I like to do as grounding is to breathe in and hold the breath, and then breathe out like this. Do it a few times. You're going to get a little bit dizzy because it's going to be a lot of oxygen in your head quite fast, but then you're going to feel really revived. And another thing that I love to do when there is a nice weather outside is to go in the park, lose my shoes, and keep my feet on the ground, on the grass there. And sometimes I even lay on the grass right there. I know that there are bugs, but I do not care. They are energy, they are life too. And in my area they are not poisonous, so they will not harm me in any way. Now, I'm curious about your story. How did you go from being a train wreck to becoming someone who's in a better situation? Or do you have a dream? Are you a train wreck right now and you want to become somebody better? Because if so, stick around, because there is a work in progress with me too. I'm not done. I'm not done healing. I'm not done progressing. So, are you a train wreck? Are you a work in progress? Are you where you want to be? I am curious about your story. Tell me your story down in the comments below. It's going to be inspiring for other people too. I shared mine. I want to know yours too, because here we create a community in which we learn from each other, and we stand for each other, and we thrive for each other. We exchange energy, and that's a good thing. Now, if this video hit home, please like it, subscribe. It's going to help me a lot. Also, I want to let you know that I started my subscriptions, and it's 2 tiers, and you have different perks there, and I'm going to post interesting stuff there that cannot be posted on the public kind of subscription. So yeah, this was something that I'm really passionate about. So I hope it made you feel something, and it gave you an idea of what to do next. Until then, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. See you next time.